Okay, so the project for today is to install this battery combiner. This is a Yandina Combiner 100. So I have I think it's a 90 or 95 amp alternator. So as long as you have less than 100 amp alternator, this is the combiner that will apparently work. And what this does is when it's charging from the alternator, it will take power and split from the alternator to both the engine battery and the house battery, just like the battery isolator does. So today we've got the isolator where the alternator lead comes to that, and then we've got the house battery and the engine battery, and this basically prevents either of those batteries being run down if you're using them. What this does though is it does the same thing. So if the alternator is charging, it will charge both batteries. It also will keep the engine battery charged if the charger for the house battery is plugged in. So if we're on shore power, this allows the engine battery to also keep topped off. And so it basically isolates both the batteries, but also combines them so that when either is charging, you get charging for both. So that seems like a pretty nice feature, and I got this from Applied GMC, where I get most of my other parts for the motorhome. And so my plan is to remove the isolator, install the combiner, and then I'll do some testing to see how it works. Okay, well, I'll do a little bit of testing here just to show what the charging is like right now, and then we'll test it after I do the change and take out that isolator. So this cable is the cable that comes from the house batteries in the rear. And if I check this terminal to ground, it's charging at about 13.2 volts right now, which it's plugged in. So that's the charger from the rear. If I do the same check to the engine battery, it's at 12.6. So no charging's happening. The engine's not running. So that's what we're seeing right now. After I have the combiner installed, we should see that same 13.2 happening on both of the batteries when it's plugged in. So we'll do a little bit of install work here and see how it goes. Okay, the combiner is installed, and I've got a couple of extra wires here, the blue wire and green wire. The instructions say that those are intended for a remote. So if you have say a switch that you want to control this with, you can use one of these for that. And then the other one is a voltage limiting feature. But neither of those are things that I am going to be using. And so I just insulated the ends of those and then zip tied them up so they'd be out of the way. I also then wired in to each side of the boost solenoid here. And so the instructions are very clear not to shorten these leads at all. And so I just zip tied them up, leave them just the way they came. And then I also grounded it here at a ground point. And I checked voltage between this ground point and each side of the solenoid to make sure that I had good ground in both cases, which I do. And then the alternator wire that was running over to the isolator, now I'm running just to the side of the boost solenoid that is connected directly to the engine battery. So I think all of that is going to work out fine. And now I've plugged it in, and I am just letting it charge based on the house battery. And if I check the voltage on the house battery side of things, it's at 14.39, which is a little bit on the high side, but I think probably the engine battery was low, so it's probably charging at a little higher rate now, and we'll see that come down after a little bit. If I check the other side here and get a good connection, pretty much the same thing. So this is the engine battery side, which is now charging at the same rate as the house battery, just being plugged in on shore power. So it looks like the combiner is working as intended. So I will keep an eye on this, but looks like it's working the way I want it to. So another project finished.